Welcome back to The Collective Appreciation. I'm your host, Gunnar Anderson. I am a screenwriter, actor, producer, and published author living and working in Los Angeles, California. I am also a certified personal trainer, and most importantly, I'm a big nerd. I love all things DC, Marvel, Star Wars, you name it. I'm a big action figure collector. And those three things, the movie business, fitness and exercise, and action figure collecting, they make up what I call my collective appreciation. And if you like any of those three things, or if you're like me and you like all of them, I would strongly consider subscribing. That's all we talk about here. So today's episode, first of all, I want to apologize for last week. No episode last week because I had the flu. I was like a rattling old car all week. And just a heads up, if you see any abrupt cuts in today's video, it's me having a coughing attack because I still have like that urge to be like a cat and hack up a hairball, but it's a big, never mind, doesn't matter what I'm hacking up. Avoid the flu at all costs this season. It's really bad. Today we are going to talk about my thoughts on the Lanterns trailer, as well as the DC universe as it is from James Gunn and Peter Safran, kind of my overall thoughts on it, kind of where it stands, what its future could look like with the Paramount Warner Brothers merger, all that stuff. And I'm adding a new segment to the end of every video called the pre-order segment, where we're just going to talk about action figures and things that are on pre-order. Not a huge list today, but it's a good place to start. I think starting off, before we dive into the Lanterns of it all and the DC universe of it all, I think it's a good starting point to start with. You want me to say start again? I think we should look at the DCEU. The previous attempt at a shared, interconnected universe of DC films. That was starting with Man of Steel and ending with Aquaman 2. We don't need to go through all of them, but I just kind of wanted... There's such a division, it seems, between the Snyderverse fans and the people that are on board with James Gunn stuff. I see Zack Snyder post stuff on social media all the time, and the comment section is filled with people, hashtag restore the Snyderverse. It's not coming back. It's just not, like, ever. But there is a very passionate fan base. And so I wanted to walk through at least like the first half of the DCEU. It's also important to mention, I don't know if it's important, but the DCEU stands for the DC Extended Universe, and it was never formally named that by Warner Brothers or DC Comics, anything. That's just kind of the name that it stuck. I guess press outlets were calling it that. Reviewers were calling it that. So it took on the moniker the DCEU, DC Extended Universe. And this current one is the DCU, just the DC Universe. And that is what James Gunn came out and called it from day one. So I like the commitment to the name already. Already we're points ahead. But starting with Man of Steel, 2013, I really like this movie. I really, really like this movie. It might be my favorite Superman movie to date. I love the old Christopher Reeve stuff. I really liked the new James Gunn Superman that came out last summer. But I thought if you're gonna rebrand Superman, if you're going to start something new and a fresh take, I thought the alien invasion first encounter story was a really cool angle. And I really liked the mythology that they built up on Krypton. I really liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I really liked everything except the Jonathan Kent tornado thing, the world's not ready for you kind of thing. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. Everything except that, I really, really like. And the total destruction of Metropolis at the end is a little bit heavy, but like, regardless of those two things, I do like Man of Steel. Batman versus Superman is a mess. There are pieces that I like. There are, like, I love some of the background. Batman specifically, I think he has some really interesting stuff. But what happened before the movie starts is much more interesting to me than what happens when the movie starts. That movie is kind of all over the place. Warner Brothers gave Zack Snyder a mandate that they had to catch up to Marvel, and they tried to do it in one movie, and it was just a bad idea. The DCEU overall didn't work. Fans were not turning. By the time we reached the end of it, even by the time we reached Justice League, Justice League, the big team-up movie that should have been DC's answer to the Avengers, it didn't do what they thought. It didn't do what they were hoping it would do. It did well, but it didn't make the numbers they were hoping for. I mean, Suicide Squad was cool. It was messy too. But again, it's just studio interference. That's what messed it up. Same with Justice League. If you don't know the story of Justice League, Zack Snyder was replaced by Joss Whedon midway through production. And Zack Snyder stepped aside for like personal reasons, but they brought in Joss Whedon, basically made another movie, totally pivoted the tone of the DCEU, and just kind of, I don't know, it didn't feel cohesive. It didn't feel like what had come before. I think if they had just committed to what came before, at least we would have something that was, like a single vision, indisputable. This is Zack Snyder's vision of what the DCU was. They trusted him to start it. They should have trusted him to finish it. And if it wasn't successful, then they could have rebooted. But instead, we had all these like mini reboots within the DCEU. And it was just jarring, and it was hard to keep up with. And ultimately, the audiences just didn't care. That's when James Gunn and Peter Safran came in, and they were named as the new heads of DC. And DC became its own studio at Warner Brothers. So it's no longer Warner Brothers over DC. Now DC is its own studio, which is cool. Kind of gives them a lot more autonomy. At least I hope it does. So the James Gunn, Peter Safran, DC universe. It began. When did it begin? I don't really know, because we have the Suicide Squad that was part of the DCEU. That was a sequel to Suicide Squad, pulled a lot of characters from Suicide Squad, killed a lot of them off in the opening minutes, and then I guess Peacemaker Season 1 connects to the Suicide Squad, and since Peacemaker Season 2 is a follow-up to Season 1, they try to tell you, don't think about it too much. They try to say, look, the Justice League, there's that shot of the Justice League at the end of Season 1, and in Season 2, they do like a recap of Season 1, and then they just put the new Justice League or the Justice Gang or whatever it's called. In my head, that's very hard to undo, because I go down the rabbit hole of, well, John Cena and Margot Robbie were in the Suicide Squad, and Margot Robbie was in Suicide Squad, and Ben Affleck's Batman was in Suicide Squad, and Ben Affleck's Batman was in Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, and that's Henry Cavill's Superman. But now John Cena's in the same universe as David Cornsweet's. It's like it's just messy, It's just messy. I wish they had done just a clean break and said, okay, we're starting completely over. But they kind of retrofitted, did like a soft reboot kind of thing. Realistically, probably because James Gunn wanted to keep the characters that he was passionate about, and I get it. But it does make it messy. So Creature Commandos is the first thing that comes out. I have no idea what Creature Commandos is. I know what it is. I know it's an animated series about a kind of misfit group of DC characters, kind of in the vein of Guardians of the Galaxy, I would imagine. But I didn't watch it, so I have no thoughts on it. I've heard it's great. So after Creature Commandos, we have Superman. Superman comes out in 2025. And it did pretty well at the box office. I think, and this is just my thoughts, I think it's really impressive what Superman was able to do at the box office. I think it was really impressive, the hype that Superman was able to generate from people, because it truly was last summer, the summer of Superman. It was everywhere. And I live in Los Angeles, so I'm a little bit biased, but there was a billboard for Superman everywhere. And the marketing was all over the place. They did a huge press tour. Social media was blowing up with Superman. It really felt like an event. I mean, you walk into Target and there's Superman everything. There were toys, like floor to ceiling on the toy aisle, Superman stuff. There still is. It's kind of annoying. But I really was impressed by what Superman was able to do in terms of shedding the previous iteration and being able to bring in a fresh audience, perhaps not a fresh audience, but bring audiences in for a fresh take. I think that was remarkable that it was able to do that, because it was the DC brand say what you will, it's carrying a lot of baggage from movies that just didn't work and audiences didn't respond to. Since like when did Man of Steel come out? 2013. So you're carrying 10 years plus of baggage from the old universe that audiences soured on, and it was able to do really well. I think they could have leaned into crypto even more. My little crypto is sleeping at my feet. Maybe he'll pop up later. I have a small white dog that looks like crypto. But yeah, I really, really liked Superman. Peacemaker, I'm kind of in a take it or leave it place with Peacemaker. I think it's clever. I think what they did this season with the Earth X, no spoilers, but I thought what they did this season was pretty clever, kind of ballsy. But it's just a little goofy for me. I don't know. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I hope it's not something that we lean on too heavily going forward in the DCU. I hope it kind of stays as like, I hope Peacemaker stays Peacemaker the series. If we get more Peacemaker, cool. But I don't know if I want. I don't know. We'll see. It's not my favorite. Supergirl looks really good. I'm excited for Supergirl. It looks very fun. It totally looks like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think they're fun. Lanterns is the thing that I'm the most excited about. We'll talk about the trailer in just a second. But it's definitely the one I'm the most excited about. And then, as if the DCEU to DCU wasn't confusing enough, you have the Batman Part 2, which starts filming very soon. This kind of reminds me, it's kind of history repeating itself in the sense that when Man of Steel came out in 2013, The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan had just wrapped up his Dark Knight trilogy and didn't want his Batman to be part of the DCEU with Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot and what ultimately became Ben Affleck. So Warner Brothers had to reboot Batman really abruptly. And now you have Matt Reeves, who doesn't want his Batman to be part of the DCU. So we're going to have Matt Reeves as Batman off on his own in another world, while eventually we're going to get the DCU. See how this is confusing? The DCU version of Batman, whoever is going to play that character. Okay. But I really love The Batman, Matt Reeves' movie. That's my favorite Batman movie. That would be a fun video, ranking all the Batman movies. That'll be fun. The Batman is my favorite Batman movie. I love the aesthetic. I love Robert Pattinson. Really, really liked that movie. Very excited for the Batman 2, even if it's not part of the grander scheme of the DCU. Okay, so my thoughts on the trailer for Lanterns. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's get my one negative. I have one negative thing that I want to say about this, and then we're gonna glaze it. There's too many F-bombs. Too many fuck words. And you might say, oh my gosh, he's clutching his pearls over the fuck word. It's not that. It's not that at all. There is this thing that superhero movies feel like they can do now, or feel like they have to do now, and I blame Deadpool. Where in order to make it feel like, ooh, we're edgy, they throw in a bunch of F-bombs. It's like, that's doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't add anything. It just kind of makes it feel inauthentic. Like, I don't care if they curse during the show. I don't give a shit. But in the marketing for it, it reminds me of Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, the amount of times they made Hugh Jackman say the fuck word in that movie, it just lost all, like, it didn't have any weight. It didn't mean anything. It was just like, oh my God, he said it again. Like, oh, and again, and again, and again. We get it. He's edgy. He's mad. He's Wolverine, and he says the fuck word every time. And I'm just like, okay. If that's what makes you edgy. But I thought the tone of the trailer was edgy enough. I thought the vibe of it was there without having to say the fuck word so many times. You get my point. Let's talk about the casting. I love this casting. I think it's awesome. I loved Friday Night Lights, Kyle Chandler. I think he could probably do some wrong, but in my book, he can do no wrong. He's got this really cool kind of like tough guy swagger, but he's also got these puppy dog eyes, and he can pull off this like I'm a real tough guy, and then he can let you see his heart, and then he can be like right down the middle, kind of a prick. And I think that's so perfect for Hal Jordan. I think that's just awesome. I think he's going to nail this. Aaron Pierre. Okay, a lot of people don't know who Aaron Pierre is. He's a relatively newcomer. If you are questioning why he is playing Jon Stewart, I urge you to go watch Rebel Ridge on Netflix. It is incredible. And Aaron Pierre's performance is more incredible than the movie itself. It's a really good movie. It's a very fun thriller. But he has acting chops. The dude can act. And not only can he act, he can carry. And by what I mean by carry is there's a ton of performers that can give really, really good performances. I don't want to take that away from anyone. There are not as many performers who can give a leading performance, like carry the weight of an entire project on their shoulders. I think Aaron Pierre has that. He's got the it. You know what I mean? So I'm really, really excited for this show, mainly because of those two. Also because of the showrunners. Chris Mundy, he did Ozark. You have David Lindelof. He did Watchmen. He did Lost. You got Tom King. He's done a lot of really good stories for DC. I really, really, really like it. I really like how it's shaking out. And this kind of True Detective season one is one of my favorite shows of all time. One of my favorite seasons of television of all time. And they kind of nail that True Detective aesthetic and grit. I think we're in for something really special. I'm also a huge sucker for the small town mystery, the thriller in a small town. There's a murder, there's an alien invasion, there's a something supernatural. I love that stuff. I really, I get sucked in so quickly, and I think this is going to nail it. I really do. I've seen a lot of people complain about the look of the suit. Look, you see the suit for one brief shot hanging in a closet. I don't think that's enough to go on whether or not it's a good look for Hal Jordan or Jon Stewart or whoever's wearing that suit. I'm totally in for this project. I'm sold. I was sold on the premise alone. I was sold on the showrunners alone. I was sold on the casting alone. And the fact that it's a small town mystery thriller, some supernatural alien comes to a small town, you got me. You had me. You had me at hello. So what's going on for the future of James Gunn and Peter Safran's DC universe? If you don't pay attention to the business of the movie industry, you might have missed this, but I doubt it. Everybody's talking about it. Paramount has won the bidding offer for Warner Brothers. And so Warner Brothers is going to merge with Paramount. Whether you like that or not, it's neither here nor there. But the DC brand is a big part of why anybody would want to buy Warner Brothers. That's a huge library of characters. That's a huge library of content. Makes total sense. But what's going to happen with this current iteration of DC? Is it going to be short-lived, or is it going to carry on after the merger? And the answer is no one knows. There are a few things that kind of have me worried, like the idea of James Gunn versus David Ellison and their politics clashing. James Gunn is very outspoken politically. He is not a fan of the current administration. And David Ellison is kind of like a big fan of the current administration. So it's kind of, those are going to be, butting heads on ideology and politics, and that could get messy very, very quickly. And I could totally see a world where James Gunn says, you know what, I'm good, I'm done, and calls it quits. And that would suck. That would really suck. I don't know, and there's a million possibilities. Does that mean that his creation dies with him and that we get another reboot of DC? Or does it mean that they hire somebody else to kind of shepherd his vision into the next phase? I don't know what it means, and nobody does until we have an answer. The other wrench that could be thrown is David Ellison wanting to start his own kind of vision of the DC universe. Maybe David Ellison doesn't like what James Gunn's doing. Maybe David Ellison doesn't think Superman did well enough. Maybe he thinks he could do better. Who knows? I really genuinely don't think DC could handle another reboot at this point. I really don't think. I think it would be dead in the water. If we had to deal with the recasting of Superman again so quickly after getting David Cornsweet, especially because he's going to be in 2 movies. He has Superman Man of Tomorrow, or Man of Tomorrow, I guess is called, comes out in 2027. That's next year. He just did Superman in 2025. We have 2 movies with him and then get a reboot. Oh God, that's whiplash. I don't know if fans would accept that. I don't know if they'd be interested in moving forward. You never know. Anyway, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, both on the trailer for Lanterns and your thoughts on the current DCU. What were your thoughts on the old DCEU? What are your hopes and dreams going forward? Are you excited about the Batman Part 2? I am. Now, before we go, let's do the pre-order spotlight. So right now, there's not much on pre-order right now. For the Black Series, I only have 1 figure. I have Mando from Season 1. I love the look of Season 1 Mando. I like it so much more than the current shiny Beskar armored Mando. I like the old kind of dirty, grimy Tatooine OT look. That's why I like that figure. For Marvel Legends, there's only 3 figures. Again, not much. We have Daredevil, the Absorbing Man, and Falcon, all from Secret Wars Wave 2. And then Mafex, we have Hush Robin and Clark Kent. Robin keeps getting pushed back. We have no idea when he's coming out. Clark Kent is set to release in December of 2026. So that gives me plenty of time to catch up on the rest of the Mafex line, at least the Hush line. I'm going to pass on Bruce Wayne. Just doesn't seem like an exciting figure. The Clark Kent comes with the open chest and the smiling head for Superman. So I don't know. He feels more worth it. I also ordered the CT Toys, or pre-ordered the CT Toys Hush Superman. See how that guy turns out. Maybe it'll be the exact same coloring as the regular Mafex Hush, but I could see them brightening the colors a little bit because so many people have complained that the Hush Mafex Superman is so pale. The yellow is so pale, the blue is so pale, the red is so pale. It's kind of a very drained looking Superman. Maybe they brighten the colors. Nobody's seen the prototype for the bootleg yet, but I ordered it just in case. I've heard the CT Toys stuff is really, really good. No DC Multiverse. As I said in the last video, I sold all of my DC Multiverse figures. I'm sticking to my guns on that. If you're looking for any, they're on my eBay store. That new Hush Batman, he looks really good. Almost tempted me back into the line, but I stayed strong. I didn't pre-order it, and now it's sold out, and I can't get it. And that's a good thing. Anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. That's all for this week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.